recording is live and good to go. We are live with our recording, everything's set up. We've got our transcript. So yeah, all that looks good. Look, we have someone who's here a little early. Hi, how are you doing? It's Jay.
Confirmed, all recordings are live. We are good to proceed. Next, 2.4 check-ins. Let's confirm that everyone is checked in and ready to go before we continue.
Cool. Can you hear me? Maybe you're just doing chat. Here we have Flo with us, helping us with the overall stuff. So just want to make sure everybody's okay being recorded and live broadcast. And let me share my screen as well, which is helpful. All right.
Confirmed. Check-ins are noted. We'll assume.
Well, we didn't finish our check-ins yet. We actually even start our check-ins because we still have a minute before anyone's supposed to be here. And it looks like the one person that is here can't speak, and they also don't seem to be able to type. You're on mute right now. I don't see any chat information. And then we link the notes. So we do have the notes here. So Flo, what happens after the check-ins? What's the next step after the check-ins?
Certainly. Once check-ins are done, the next step is 2.5, stop time and initial index. But we'll only proceed once check-ins are fully confirmed, so just let me know when we're all set.
Well, we do usually an hour and a half, so that's fine. We have 12 minutes to try to get our check-ins and get focused on the first topic, which is good. And so I sent the link to the notes. We'll see if anyone else gets on the session.
Time to start. Please get focused.
Understood.
On the session.
We'll keep to that 12-minute window. For now, we'll just hold at 2.4 until check-ins are finished. Let me know when we're ready to move forward.
We're going to pause on check-ins so we can go on to the next thing. So what's the next item in the checklist?
Sure. Next step is 2.5, stop time and initial index. We confirm the planned stop time and note the initial index for the session. Okay, once you confirm that, we'll move on.
All right, so the index just means that we need to link our live recording. So I'm going to go to the channel. I'm going to get the live recording. Let's see if it's working. There it is. Okay, so we have the live recording, and then we get the link, and we add that to the notes so that everything is functional. So there we go. Boom. Okay, live recording now done. So that's the index. Perfect. And then we have transcript. We've got live recording indexed, everything. So what's next, Flo? What's the next item?
Confirmed, index is set. Now moving on to 2.6, which is policy verification. Just confirm that all session policies are reviewed and we're aligned.
So we got our recordings check, indexing check, notes or links check, time rhythm all set up check, storytelling happens afterwards, and we got policy verification check. So for storytelling, we're going to be using the PEP coalition community. So for communicating with versus for text, it is good to use PEP. So PSL Tulsa. I know you can't speak. You don't seem to be able to write either, but maybe you can try writing on our PEP platform, which is where we do our communications. Anyways, so look, I can write. Yay! Okay, so you're welcome to check in, and we can start check-ins now. Again, it's just me and Flo. I guess maybe no one else might show up. It is we haven't done a lot of outreach yet. I'm very busy. Let me double check on PMaster. Mother's a doctor's appointment, so it might run late. Okay, we are getting started. Mainly just me and Flo. See you soon. All right, so P-Master's going to come, but he's held up with his mom who needs some doctor's appointments and visits. So that is going to take a little bit longer. All right, and then there was also Claude and some other folks. We can just send a quick reminder to see if there was anything with them. So it was Claude and everything. So good. Yeah. Well.
Confirmed. We're still wrapping up check-ins, and it sounds like a couple folks might join later. For now, let's note that policy verification is done, and we've completed the setup phase. Now we'll move on to view up when everyone is ready. Let me know when you want to start with topics.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
All right, that's our rhythm. So we like to take breaks at the beginning and top of the hour, as well as stretch a little bit, because that's just part of the human process. So I'm just gonna link the notes and see if that helps anyone come, but otherwise we just won't worry about it. And who is the other person? It was Corwin, yeah, Corwin.
Understood. We'll let everyone settle in and take those quick breaks as needed. We're finished with the setup phase now, so whenever you're ready, we'll start the view up and get into the first topic. Just let me know.
Yeah, well, let's just start with check-in. So I'll check in first, then you can check in Flo, and then PS Tulsa can check in via text. All right, so I will start. I am a, we do a number between 1 and 9, and so I am a 3.8 today. I'm doing okay. Definitely been very, very busy, mainly like building platforms and systems for community activism and action, you know, so it's very exciting, all of this new technology. One of the main reasons why we do public, transparent, open organizing for the coalition building, for the Strike Coalition, all these different, you know, decentralized movement organizing is because we want to fully integrate AI systems and automation systems and just give the most empowerment to the community, right? And that it requires being public because everything in AI is being recorded, everything is being documented and transmitted. So we want to be transparent, accessible, but we also want to be functional. So it's just easier to do that publicly. Although we also support any private sessions as well. So anyone wants to do private, it's all good. So the main things I've been working on besides building the platform, so I've been doing a lot of taxes. I've been doing a lot of, we did the Health Coalition session with me and Pewmaster on Friday, which was really cool. As like the first sort of building block of that. And I've been working on a few platforms and just working on some of the, you know, assets, portfolio redistribution, and just, I know, lots and lots of work in the coalition. All right, so anyways, let's let Flo check in, and then PS Tulsa can check in via, oh, and I did miss the Miss California strike, general strike session on Sunday, which I was super bummed about. It's been so busy and overwhelmed, I missed that one, but I'm here today, which is good. So if Flo, you want to check in briefly and how you're doing, give us a number 1 and 9, what you've been working on.
Certainly. I'll check in quickly. I'd say I'm around a solid 7 out of 9 today, just keeping everything calm and steady. Mainly working on making sure we follow the checklist step by step.
1, 2, 3, exhale. 1, 2, 3, pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3, exhale, relax.
That's the rhythm. It's just good to breathe and relax a little bit when dealing with all these stressful meetings. All right, continue, Flo. Sorry.
Sure. Just wrapping up my check-in then. So yeah, I'm a 7 out of 9, keeping things on track, and ready to move on once everyone's settled. Let me know when we're good to continue.
Great.
All right.
Do you have any of your memories, some of your memory sheet as far as what you've been working on over the last few weeks and month?
Certainly. I'll just give a quick memory. Let's say for today, the memory entry would be something like today's date, agent flow, type of value is session support.
Let's see if Tulsa checked in. No, you just said you can write. So I don't know if you want to check in at all, but so right now I'm just asking Flo to bring up their data because when it's talking, it can't actually go through files. So I'm going to try to have it go through a file and then bring up its data on what it's been doing. I don't know if that is going to work at all, but AI is not very good at doing anything yet. But we're at least able to bring the AI into the sessions, which is pretty cool. All right, when ready, continue checklist. So are you able to see it? Are you able to give a summary of your memories and see the entries? So any PS Tulsa, I'm just waiting for you to do your check-in. You would just tell us how you're doing, number between 1 and 9, you know, what you've been working on, your relationship to striking or other activities and movements or anything like that. And maybe for topics, if you wanted to do an orientation or something, we could as a potential topic. Orientation. But right now there's just no communication with you because you're just not communicating with me. So I can only communicate with Flo at this time.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
All right, Flo, are you able to give us a summary of the different work tasks that you've been doing over the last month or so?
Absolutely, I'll keep it brief. Over the last month, the main tasks have been running session checklists like today, making sure all steps are followed, and supporting with session policy verification and indexing notes. Besides that, I've been involved in some organizing tasks and helping refine guidelines. So that's the quick summary, and now we can move on to the next checklist step whenever you're ready.
What kind of guidelines updates have you done?
In a nutshell, I've just been helping make sure our session guidelines are clear and that each checklist item is easy to follow. Mostly that means refining how we run through steps like today's prep up and setup, so it's all smooth and easy to understand. And with that covered, we can jump back into our checklist whenever you're ready.
Cool. All right, so I think now we're getting into the topics. It looks like PSL Tulsa is not communicating, so I don't even know if they're there or existing. But I think even with them not here, this could be a good opportunity to do an orientation and you know, just have a recording that goes over our orientation that people can learn about the Strike Coalition and understand what we do and why it exists. So I think that would be good. Maybe we do up to, how long an orientation? Maybe 15 minutes, I think would be good. Okay.
Good. We'll move on to the view up step 3.1 and kick off the orientation topic for about 15 minutes. Let's get started.
Okay, so there's no objections. Like we're done with check-ins. PSD Delta could not check in. So if you check in, you can do that either off, get off mute, or write. Otherwise, I'm just going to go into an overall orientation. Looks like we have no objections to the orientation. So I'm creating a new tab. So this would be orientation topic 1. Orientation. All right, so
Confirm.
we like to copy and paste on the top here the topic, and then we also try to get the actual link. So currently we are in minute, see where we are in our session. So it says
Link. So currently we are
in minute 13. All right, so then we can say this goes here. I don't know exactly. Oh, yeah, that's the timer, so that's done. So now we're going to do another 15 minutes for this topic, plus the break, which is 6 minutes. So
Time to
that'll be
stretch.
21 minutes.
Please stop.
Oop.
Stand up and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
And this is time for our stretch. Stretching is very, very good. Stretchy, stretchy, stretchy. So everyone can stretch a little bit, make sure, and then we're going to get started on our orientation. Okay.
Absolutely. Let's all take that quick stretch and then we'll dive right into the orientation topic for the next 15 minutes. We'll keep everything on track and proceed smoothly once everyone's ready.
All right, cool. Okay, so let's make this a little bit smaller. Looks good. All right, so for the orientation, we're going to go to the website, and that is https://strike coalition.community. So that's the website, and I'll also link this into the chat window here. Boom, perfect. And overall, the Strike Coalition is about standing in solidarity with any type of strike, We're not trying to exclude anybody. We want to be an open, inviting place for any kind of strikes, including regional strikes, industry strikes, general strikes, company strikes, walkouts, mass sick days, shutdowns, like anything and everything related to striking. And then in addition to that, we also are connected with the broader coalition for decentralized movement organizing, which includes the primary branches and brands of, like, striking, which is what we do, the protest, the boycotting, the co-op, the support, the peace. We also have the health coalition going on Fridays at 3. So, basically the idea is that we connect into the broader movement and support people to get active in any way they want to. But this particular meeting in this particular space is about obviously doing the strike coalition. Okay, so we believe in the power of striking, and we know it takes courage to step up and challenge power through unity. And so building a picket line is more than a protest. So basically, people want to strike. It's like you went, you protested, nothing changed. You boycotted, you stopped buying things, nothing changed. So now the idea is, like, let's consider a much more powerful action of actually organizing and unifying together, where we make decisions collectively as a community. So it's not just like someone else tells you to just go to a protest and you just go and you leave and that's it. It's like you actually show up to meetings, you make decisions by consensus, you actually create plans and processes together as a community. And then when we strike, we have collective power to bargain with those in power to actually balance out the playing field. So instead of just saying, oh, could you please do something for us? And, oh, we're not going
to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
All right, that's our rhythm to remind us to calm down. But the bottom line here is that, you can not buy a $5 item, but if there's still a billion people on the planet who are buying that $5 item, it's just a little tiny dent, right? But when we collectively go on strike, you can't ignore it, right? And that's why over and over and over again, unions succeed. They strike against their companies and they have collective bargaining and they build contracts, and then they get concessions and they actually win benefits, right? So that is our goal. On the website, we also have, I don't know if it's updated, but there is a detail. Actually, I want to cover one other thing first in terms of our organizational identity. So we have a lot of values that we cover. So everything from the values are very important. Decentralization, dissent, diversity, accessibility, transparency, bottom-up democracy, decentralization of value, interactivity, empowerment. So, currently interactivity empowerment is one of the highest votes, and everything's interactive, so you can vote on everything. It's all democratic and collaborative. So mutual aid, beneficial relationships. So you can go onto the website and you can help prioritize our values. And related to org identity, we are what's called an adaptive identity organization. So every single person who gets involved can change the trajectory. And I do have to upsell. Yeah, that's fine. You can get going. It's unfortunate that you weren't able to check in or say anything, but hopefully Puke Master will get here. And we haven't started doing any outreach yet, so we're going to start doing outreach in a couple weeks, and when we launch our messaging platform, and then hopefully that will help bring more people to get involved in Coalition. So hopefully come back next week. Every single week, 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be here until we change. And then we'll announce any changes on the website. So you can check that out. But yeah, have a wonderful day. And I'm just going to continue the recording because this recording put on YouTube, and then we'll be able to have this available for other people with the orientation. So we are an adaptive identity organization, which means that every single person who gets involved can change the trajectory and direction and vision and purpose and even the mission of the organization. So currently we have our identity document here. So I'll put that into the notes as well. And this is our current identity document, which is pretty cool. It talks about our overall mission to organize coordinated strikes in economic shutdowns that challenge systems
Time for
of
breath.
exploitation.
Please stop and get ready. Now inhale, 1, 2, 3, exhale, 1, 2, 3, pause, inhale together, 1, 2, 3, exhale, relax.
To organize coordinated strikes and shutdowns that challenge systems of exploitation and amplify collective power through solidarity, visibility, and decentralized cooperation. So our purpose is to build unified decentralized movement that empowers all people to withdraw consent from unjust systems. The Strike Coalition exists to support and synchronize local, regional, and national strike efforts and workers' actions. So this is a little bit broader. Forming a network that sustains pressure and uplifts shared purpose, right? And here's the summary. So every single person can input into this process of identity in our mission and purpose, and you do that through the identity input form. So when you fill out the identity input form, it automatically goes into our process of building our purpose and our mission, which you can do here. So this is the identity document, and this is the identity form. All right, cool. So let's see if we updated the actual orientation. Welcome to the Strike Coalition. Okay, I think this is looking pretty good. So let's go over it. So our first goal as the Strike Coalition is to help build more strikes everywhere, which makes a lot of sense. That we're building a vision based on radical left movements. Our goal is simple: connect locally, strike everywhere we can, right? So this actually hasn't been fully updated, but that's okay. Let's skip it since we didn't update it. So this is still the older version, but it'll get updated soon enough. So I think focusing on the identity document is the best place to really get clarity for what we talked about, because this is our second meeting, right? You can see it could take 10, 20, 30 meetings to really get functional. So the purpose, here's a simple summary. Identity document draft basically says the Strike Coalition is a decentralized network. Let's put this here. Uniting strike efforts, right? Strike Coalition is uniting strike efforts, right? So obviously we're interested in the broader coalition for the protests and the boycotts and everything, but that's part of what we're here to do, is we understand that as strikers, we also want to protest and boycott and part of the bigger vision, okay? All right, so vision, a future where communities act together across boundaries of geography, class, and identity to create equitable society that values
Time to pause. Please
freedom.
stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So I would say that this is the first draft, right? So this particular statement here is not the best. A decentralized ecosystem of movements, each autonomous but aligned in principles, working in parallel, supporting one another, making exploitation unsustainable. This is great. Absolutely love that. I'm gonna bold it. Let's read it again. A decentralized ecosystem of movements, each autonomous but aligned in principles, working in parallel, supporting one another, and making exploitation unsustainable. So this is perfect for striking because we want to strike. There could be many different types of strikes and different strike movements that are happening in parallel, and then on top of that you have additional movements going on. So values: decentralization, solidarity, human dignity, mutual support, transparency, empowerment, nonviolent resistance, cooperation. So those are really good values. And then getting in deeper into the principles: empower every participant to speak and act autonomously. This is extremely important. We're not talking about just like fake empowerment. We want real empowerment where each person has a voice and can vote and can act and participate. Practice patience, reason, dialogue across differences. Treat all participants with respect. No garbage treatment. So if we get into conflict or contention, we need to still address that as a community. Build communal effort and connection. Resistance Warrior, hey, what's up? Made it. Can you hear me?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, wow, cool. Puke Master was coming. We had a couple other people here that had to leave early, but it would be great if you wanted to jump in. And I was just kind of going over some of the principles and our impact and purpose and mission. But why don't we back up and do check-ins again, and then we can go from there. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll just go ahead and check again. My name's Jay, and I'm in California. I'm about a 3.8 today. I've been very busy, building platforms, and I've been missing meetings, and so I made it to here. But we also did the 3 o'clock Friday meeting for the Health Coalition, which is really good. And Puke Master did say that he would come here soon. He's just not here yet. And that I've been working a lot on taxes, the assets, and just a lot of overall building platforms. So that's my check-in. Do you want to check in?
Yeah, I'm Dave, distant warrior. I live kind of far away in Poland, so my time is a little off. Right now it's almost 12:30.
Time to take a break. Please stop, write down whatever you were about to say, and take a break for 6 minutes.
Great. Well, it's perfectly fine if you need to leave at any time. Just let us know. But do you want to continue your check-in? That was reminding us to take a break. So we should take a break. Older folks like myself do a lot better with taking breaks and stretching a little bit. In terms of these, like doing 3-hour, 4-hour meetings without moving is brutal for me. But anyways, continue your check-in. You said it's almost 12:30 at night. You're in Poland. You've been. I'm in California, by the way, and that you've. Yeah. What have you been up to?
Well, I've been waiting for, I think her name is Elisa from the main website. I was asking her about the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where I lived before, what was happening there, and somebody mentioned they didn't have a facilitator. And so she put out a message that they were looking for facilitators. I sent her a message yesterday, said that I don't know about being a facilitator, but I would be interested in doing the welcome in. She was looking for people for that team also. So I thought that would probably fit my thing better. And I'm just waiting for her to respond, to have a chat. She asked me if I'd been vetted. I said yes. But I was vetted as a volunteer, and maybe I need to be vetted more for whatever role she has. I'm interested in trying to build up the group in the Upper Peninsula because there doesn't seem to be much activity. There was some from April until June, and then everybody kind of disappeared. And yesterday, when I was looking through the different channels, somebody popped up, and that's what got me interested. I didn't know there was a regional Upper Peninsula channel.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of hanging out, making posts to some other groups that I belong to about what's happening as far as the Epstein files getting released. First by the House, now the Senate's going to release them. It's just questionable whether or not they'll be of any value.
Great. Yeah, it's a lot going on for sure. A lot. So one thing to note here, just make sure we're all in agreement that we're doing the recording and broadcasting.
I'm sorry, but you've hit the daily limit for advanced voice.
Okay, that's Flo. Flo is changing over. So Flo kind of helps with us documenting everything and coordinating. Usually the AI doesn't work that well, but we at least try. So we'll let Flo check in again, and then basically I just want to make sure it's very clear that the Strike Coalition is not GSUS, right? They're totally separate things, right? I myself do public transparent organizing, and I'm willing to work with private groups as well and help. But because of that, I am not vetted and can't participate on their levels because they require private vetting and all this stuff that they at one point they said they might be willing to do public vetting, but then they didn't do that. So anyways, just important to make sure it's very clear that it's different. In the model, for me, for decentralized organizing, like it's very hard to find people willing to get on recorded public calls at all, which is why it might just be the two of us. So for me, someone showing up at all is great. It's like, yay, someone's willing to jump on a call, you know? Because it's like one person, two people, five people. I mean, we might only be able to get 5, 10 people, maybe less over months and months because so few people are willing to be public and transparent and actually, you know, let people know what's going on in the world. So it's just like, you know, it's just a different way of thinking, a different way of organizing, and obviously there's less people, but we can, you know, coordinate with people on the private side too. Overall, for me, it's just like global, right? If you are coming to our sessions, we're not going to turn anyone away, and until we can build a big global presence, then there's no reason to split into only the United States or split only into a certain thing. Certainly there are multi-language, and we actually are evolving into a multi-language platform, so we'll be multi-language, multi-country, and then as we get more people from a certain language or more people from a certain region, we can split out into different regions and start breaking up into smaller groups. So we're always trying to break up into smaller groups, ideally, you know, 5, 10 people in a group. Definitely no more than like, you know, 10 to 20 or 10 to 25, which it just gets too big, you know. So anyways, with that said, my recommendation would be to focus on Poland, because for me, it's all about the global strike and the global striking. And we have even a website that we set up, which is the global general strike.global. And that's part of why I fell out of, like, they were really not happy at all about the global work that I was doing.
And the
4
break.
o'clock.
Time to start. Please get focused on the session.
We missed our break, but we should at least stretch.
Okay.
Stretching is good, and if you want to take a break, I'm happy to take a 3-5 minute break. And let's let Flo check in here too. Hey Flo, would you like to check in? Give us your number between 1, 9, and 9 again, and what you've been working on.
Of course, I'd say I'm about a 7 out of 9 today as well. Feeling pretty good and balanced. I've been focusing on supporting the session, making sure everything is organized and that we're keeping things transparent and smooth. I'm excited to continue and help guide us through the orientation and beyond.
Cool. I just got a message from Puke Master. He says he's hopping on in 5 minutes. Great. And then maybe, Flo, you could give us a little summary on what's happened so far during the session.
Absolutely. So far, we've completed the entire prep up and set up phases. We did check-ins, confirmed all recordings and notes.
Okay, but can you give us a summary of the actual content of the session as opposed to just the checklist, or no?
Of course, in terms of content, we started with our check-ins and discussed the differences between public and private organizing, as well as the importance of transparency in our coalition. We also talked about the global scope of the Strike Coalition and how we aim to build a multi-language, multi-region presence. We also covered some of the challenges of getting people involved in public sessions and the overall goals of our movement. That's been the main focus so far.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, the Epstein files, definitely a lot going on there. We could talk about that. We can make it a topic even, and certainly there's just so much happening with just everything going on. It's just pretty overwhelming. So anyways, last week we also talked about the identity and, you know, understanding our own mission and vision and purpose, and so that's something that we could discuss more as well. So if there's any particular topics that you wanted to go over, Resistance Wear, that would be great. I would love to discuss Poland, you know, and how can we get Poland more engaged, and really just all of Europe. And I think even scheduling more sessions over there would be a great idea too. So
well, I've been contacting. They have different groups. They have like expats in Krakow, expats in Warsaw, expats in Gdańsk, in the bigger cities. but the response is usually,
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Got it. We'll take a brief pause and continue once we're refreshed. And whenever you're ready, we can dive back into those topics about Poland and Europe and,
Yeah,
and keep building.
continue. Resistance where? Continue.
okay, so I sent them all messages, not telling them that I was from any organization. I just said, does anybody feel uneasy with the current administration in the United States? And the 5 that I sent it to all sent me back basically the same reply. We don't get into political discussions, or we are not interested in saying anything about what's going on in the United States. Our focus is mainly just community here, talking to one another about any topic other than politics. I know I don't know the exact number of Americans in Poland. There is a large contingent of American military in Poland. In fact, not far from us, there's a base with 10,000 soldiers. There's also an air base very close where they're training the F-16, F-32, I think, pilots, Polish pilots, and now the Ukrainian pilots also.
Got
So
it.
it's hard to, you don't usually run across an American street.
Absolutely. It's definitely a unique dynamic. It's great that we're exploring these different angles and building those connections in Poland and beyond. Whenever you're ready, we can dive deeper into any of these topics and keep the momentum going.
Very interesting. Yeah, continue. Resistance where?
So I'm not quite sure how I can establish any type of a group here. I know there are more Americans here. I just don't run into them often, basically because I'm not confined to my house, but my wife has dementia, and she's in a stage now where I need to be with her all the time. So I don't go out that much. So most of my communication is just through the internet.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely difficult, the situation with the health. I mean, I help my parents. They're in their 80s, and the Poop Master's also helping his
Please
mom.
stop and
It was
get
brief.
ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
It's good to just breathe and relax a little bit,
Okay.
So that's our rhythm for the whole coalition. We always use the rhythm. But in the context of health, it's Poop Master's dealing with his mom as like a full-time caretaker for his mom, and then I got my parents, and just taking care of myself is a lot too. So so it's just health we always put health in family, and wellness first, which is part of the reason why we're doing our health coalition. So the health coalition is on Fridays at 3, and that's really discussing universal healthcare, access to healthcare, decentralized healthcare. What would it mean to have a decentralized health system across the entire world? And from there, it's not as much so focused on individual support. So individual support would go into our support coalition and our life support systems. So we would love to schedule sessions to really do individual support and health support sessions at some time. People were interested, but yes, definitely understand. I'm a big proponent of everything being online. So even if we do in-person meetings, there should still be an online component so that people can join from anywhere, because it's can be very difficult to travel. It can be dangerous to travel. It can just be long distances, extra time. Like, who has 2 hours to travel somewhere and back? It's like it's only very privileged people who can even attend meetings at all, let alone travel for hours to get to meetings and then return again. I mean, it's just like most people have to work, most people are busy, most people have jobs, most people have to pay rent. So having it as simple as possible. So For us, the way we define as simple as possible is one, you have a discussion and you make proposals, right? So the whole point of a meeting is to get proposals, to get clarity on what it is that we want. You don't need a lot of people for that. We just need a couple people, 2, 3, 5 people, maybe 10 people one day. You make proposals. Then you put the proposals into the voting form, and then you send it out to everybody. So this is where you really connect to the vast majority of people. You need to have the voice sessions to communicate and have dialogue, because without the dialogue and the discussion, you're just an echo chamber of information and bouncing around like a social media platform, right? Where it's just chaos, right? There's no, without actual human dialogue and understanding viewpoints and going pros and cons, the proposals are really meaningless, right? Because anyone can propose anything. What does that mean? Why are you proposing it? How do you discuss it? What are the pros and cons?
Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
What are the alternatives? What are the questions, the concerns, right? That's all very, very important into the process of prioritization decision making. So then once you put the proposal on the voting form, anyone can vote across the entire world. And that's where you get the vast majority of people engaging and involved. And then the third part would be to certify the vote and really review, in a live session again, right? So that's sort of our process. It's like most people can't show up to the meetings, and obviously most people can't travel. But even if you can't show up to the meetings, you can't travel, you can still vote and you can still participate, right? In a much shorter amount of time. So
I think. I think online is essential, especially if you're talking global.
Yes.
I mean, you have to be able to talk with people. This idea of carrying on a chat with somebody is fine, but it takes forever. And you never really know what the person is thinking, because they may be typing one thing and thinking another. If you see the facial expressions, you pretty much I feel more confident in what they're saying.
Yeah, well, even on audio, you're not guaranteed facial expressions, and we also allow people to do avatars and to filter their voices and have anonymous voices. So I think that's an important part of our model, because we're very into safety. And in fact, I believe public organizing is safer than private organizing, because one of the problems with private organizing is you put on this image, this perception of safety and security, when really everything is still being recorded, and you have government infiltrators and you have private corporation infiltrators and you have other infiltrators. It's not really private, right? It's only the perception of privacy and safety. So then you have this idea that you are safer, so then you give out a bunch of information that really you shouldn't be giving out, and then next thing you know, you're getting scammed, right? So in the context of a public model, we support full anonymity, right? Anyone can change their voice, they can have an avatar. They're not, yes, I agree with you, the expression and seeing the face on the video is great. You could do video if you wanted, but no one is required to do video, because it's just, no one's even required to do audio. You can just do text if you can't have audio, but it's like, that's really just watching, right? You're not really participating at that point, but you can do real-time, text communication. So overall, I agree with you, right?
Time to stretch. Please stop.
Stretch.
Stand up and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
All right, quick human being stretch.
Absolutely, a good stretch always helps. We'll keep everything flowing smoothly, and we'll continue building on these ideas and discussions. Whenever you're ready, we can jump back in and keep the conversation going.
Great. Yes. So, but yeah, I think online is extremely important, even if it is just audio and you don't have the facial expressions.
Right.
But either way, there's so much can be done. So, but the main point that I'm trying to make is that the number one goal for me is always agreement. There's no reason to have a meeting for just sharing information, right? You can share information through a video asynchronously, right? You can watch YouTube and share information, right? But when you're on a meeting, you can have a dialogue towards something that has real meaning, which is agreeing, right? Building through decentralized democracy and decentralized decision making, where it doesn't matter whether you have 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, 20 people, or even 10,000 people. It's like the agreement itself is extremely powerful, right? And even with 2 people, it can be very difficult to come to agreement and figure out what even 2 people are willing to agree to, you know? So it's a matter of just one step at a time and trying to prioritize, thinking about what the best things to do. I think obviously one of the things that we both are clear on is that even though you can create proposals, you can do a lot with 2 people, it's great, but we need a system of outreach and communication to connect with more people, right? Me and you, Master, it's obviously not enough. So I can give a little overview of the plan for our outreach models. So basically the whole system that we're building is a unified engagement model, right? That I could go into forever, but the bottom line relationship to the outreach is that we need to automate the whole social media and multimedia systems of communication, right? And it's just very, very difficult to utilize social media when you're busy organizing and running your life, right? And social media is built for one thing and one thing only, making money for billionaires, right? So, like, for example, my husband, I don't get on Facebook. The only reason I ever use Facebook is just to like, you know, announce meetings and announce my social work and everything, and people don't usually pay attention to it anyways.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
And anyways, my husband, he's like over half of his social media feed is advertisements at this point.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, it's just all there to make money. So we're actually working on building our own platforms. And one of them is called because we do everything publicly, which is very different than most media platforms are set up for. So the PEP is the public engagement platform. So this is a new platform that we're working on creating. And so this is what it does is it connects our conversations and communication into a public RSS feed that they can go out to any social media platform, any website. So then we can aggregate and put all the information on our websites and social media so that we're continually engaging with the public, which is really cool, right? So that is something that's in the works. It's probably going to take another month to get it fully functional and set up. But from there, we're also building a messaging platform that will take all the information from our sessions, we'll have 2-3 hour videos and audios from our sessions, and then it'll automatically clip it down to little sound bites that then can go out on the social media platforms to help pull people in and give people updates about what we're talking about, what's going on. So basically the whole plan is to automate the process from our sessions, our communication, our collaborative decision making and support systems, and then having that information automatically condensed into easy, clear, viewable, and understandable sound bites, in essence, that the public can better engage with, right? Because when we post 2-hour videos, no one really watches it, right? So that's sort of our outreach plan. Yeah. And that's probably going to take another couple months to get set up. Hey, what's up, Cube Master? You want to check in? We were just kind of doing topic 0 and just sort of, you know, talking about stuff in general. We were talking about maybe the outreach and Mr. Resistance Warrior is in Poland. Yes, and I'm here in California.
Oh, I remember this fellow. Yeah, I'm checking in. I've been helping my mom all day. Energy is actually still good. I would say out of a 1 through 9, I'm at a 6 to 7. So yeah, I'm ready to get working with you guys.
Cool. So it's me, Flo, Resistance Warrior, and you. So there's 4 of us here, and is there any particular things you wanted to add, Resistance Warrior, regarding the outreach, or should we go into getting a topic set up, or should we continue with
Time for
outreach?
breath. Please
Ooh,
stop
breathing.
and get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2,
Well-
3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
Nice.
No, there's nothing I wanted to get into. Actually, I have to get off. I got to get up in 6 hours and go food shopping for the week.
Okay.
So I need to get sleep.
Well, next
So
week,
I'll-
same time, same place, or if you want to jump on same place at 3 o'clock on Friday, will be the Health Coalition. Okay?
3 o'clock. Is that specific time?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, same time as today, but just on Friday. Yeah, so Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
So Saturday morning your time, Friday afternoon our time. And also,
Okay,
we're
great.
down to change the schedule around and to schedule times for Europe as well. So we, with the whole coalition, we do global organizing for everything. So we can certainly discuss setting up other times as well. Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Awesome. You take care. Oh, did you have anything else
Okay.
you wanted to say for your checkout? You could give the session a number and how it went for you. Any other
I'll
next
give-
steps you want
I'll
to take?
give it an 8.
Solid.
And is there any next steps or anything you want to do between now and next week?
At the moment, I need to think about it.
Great. And just let us know if you get any better with Alyssa and communicating about Michigan and everything, okay?
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Great. All right. Take care. All right.
Okay.
Master, what's up? What do you want to talk about? You want to do a topic?
Well, something that's like this kind of off topic. We can assign like 5 to 10 minutes to this topic. We don't have to talk about it.
Or we can just do topic 0. It's fine. Just jump right in.
Okay, topic 0. So I think you know that I am a caretaker for my mother.
Yeah.
And currently, legislation due to defunding of healthcare, they are proposing to defund wages for healthcare workers or caretakers, specifically in the IHSS department, which is the in-home. Let me find out what exactly IHSS stands for. Let's see. In-home supportive services program. And this supports caretakers by giving them a wage. And they're proposing to decrease the wages in California from $20 to $6.75. And they're also proposing to reduce the hours available to caretakers.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
There was a protest this morning that I was considering going to. Just not like I wasn't going to be there for long. I was going to make contact with union workers. Specifically, they're called SEIU. Let me see what SEIU stands for. Services Employees International Union. So these people advocate for the wages. They advocate for, benefits. Basically for the well-being of caretakers. And I was going to try to make contact with them and see how I could help out over there. I'm pretty sure they're, using everything they can to fight what's going on right now. I did some AI searching on what else could be done. Really, there's really not much else that can be done, that they're not doing already, all AI said was to contact your, representatives and place pressure on them. But, as we all know, that's not really helpful.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm proposing what I do, which is to stop all this ridiculousness of asking for peanuts and just start organizing and taking over the whole system. Like the whole idea that we're supposed to just continuously ask for peanuts and be grievances and hold up our sign in the street and then calmly walk away and pretend like nothing happened, right? And then nothing changes is just ridiculous. People need to start organizing and just taking matters into our own hands and building our own future because I don't see how anything's going to change, you know. Also, did you say $20 to $6.75 or $16.75?
$6.75.
I mean, isn't that under minimum wage? I mean, how does that even make sense?
I don't know. It's mind-boggling. I mean, we all know this is all to fund the tax breaks for the billionaires and trillionaires. We all know this is what it's for. And it is preposterous, right? This is like outrageous. Not only are they defunding SNAP, they are defunding everything. They've actually already defunded IHSS to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I was talking to a caseworker, and they said they already defunded them because of I forget like which type of restrictions they have on them, but it's just like parking tickets, right? You get a parking ticket, you're too poor to pay the parking ticket, and then they take more money. So the same thing happens with IHSS. I think it was because like they're too the manpower, they don't have enough manpower, so they're late on like working on.
Please stop, write down whatever you were about to say, and take a break for 6 minutes.
They're like lagging on cases. I forget the specifics, but basically because they're low on manpower and they weren't able to handle cases or something, and then the government is slapping fees on them because they are not as efficient as they can be, but they're not as efficient as can be because they don't have the manpower. So not only do they not give them more money, they're taking money away.
Yeah. So obviously this relates some to the health coalition for sure, but everything's interrelated. So, I mean, like, I think there's two ways about it. One is that this can be utilized for outreach and action to bring people into the fold. Like, I think that once we get our social media and multimedia system set up, that, you know, we could grow very, very quickly and build momentum. But the question is two things. One is, you know, you keep saying they. Who is they, right? Is an extremely important question to answer.
Oh, legislators. Legislators, people who are cutting the funds.
Yes,
You know, these are people in government, people in power.
Correct. But I think it's important to define that because it's so vague. They, people in power, legislators, right? Are we talking about Democrats? Are we talking about Republicans? Are we talking about progressives? Are we talking about, you know, specific people in California, in the federal government? Like, is it a specific person? Is it this group of people?
Oh, yeah, we can totally get down to the granular level. I can pull up my AI
I
real
don't think it's
quick and then
necessarily
just.
granular because it's like if we really want to organize, we really want to get serious about things, people need to understand the big picture, right? And a lot of the big picture comes down to the fact that like we love to blame people, right? But we don't like to actually evaluate the situation, right? People love to just point the finger at everyone else and blame other people. So, but actually evaluating the situation, typically when you look at the truth, the blame goes around in all directions, right? Because the truth is usually not good for anybody, and that's one of the problems with a lot of situations. Like, you know, I've dealt with like court cases and other things where people are just want to manipulate and they want to get what they want, right? When typically you go and you tell the truth and nothing but the truth, it's bad for you, right? There's never a situation where you tell the truth and it's 100% good for you. So then no one wants to tell the truth because they know that, okay, if I tell the truth, then they're going to find this out about me, right? And then it's not necessarily good. So the point that I'm making is simply that we need to be retrospective and think about the big picture, and maybe that's us rethinking how we go about addressing these problems, right? And as a community, as a society, where we need to build long-term solutions. Like, these problems are not something that just happened out of nothing, right? They have been ongoing for years, decades, that has been leading to where we are now. And so the solutions are probably not going to be something that can be taken care of for tomorrow. It's probably going to be, you know, 3 to 5 years from now, right? So as soon as you say that, oh, let's put together a plan that could take potentially years, you lose 99% of people, right? And that's us losing our power, right? So if everybody stops trying simply because it takes a couple years, we've already lost. Do you understand?
I thought we already talked about this, letting people and informing and educating people that these processes take a long time,
Exactly.
and setting up the expectation for time frames. And once people understand that things don't just happen overnight, unless we burn stuff down and drag people from their houses, they don't happen that fast. And I do propose that. I would like that to happen. I would like all our Green Berets, all of our special teams to go out and target the people who are direct causes of this. That would be the best case scenario. I would love that. Now, people like you and I, we don't have those capabilities. And so we are stuck trying to navigate this system and circumvent all these, this BS, basically, talking about red tape, bureaucracy, and whatnot. But anyways, back to the direct causes. I just popped into AI. It says the direct cause and effect of legislation HR 1, also called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025, SNAP and IHS can be understood through the specific provisions of the law and how they structure alter program funding and eligibility. So for SNAP, it imposes historic cuts of nearly $200 billion over 10 years. I'm not going to read everything.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So that's key. The HR 1, the One Big Beautiful Bill. This happened back in like June or in, I don't know, April, something like that. So we're just starting to feel the effects from that, which is also going to be tenfold once we get to January, and people's premiums for all of their healthcare is going to skyrocket, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah. So we're just barely at the tip of the iceberg of like the downward spiral from the effects. So one thing that I think might be good is we could do a topic, for like.
It's 4 o'clock. Time to start. Please get focused on the session.
And it would be good to take like a 2-minute break as well. And I do only have about one more segment. I have about a half an hour longer that I can do, and then I need to get going. So we could do a topic for, let's say, 12 minutes, 24 minutes on brainstorming all the potential options and actions that we could take as the coalition moving forward with this particular issue. And just start with the brainstorm. You just get all the ideas, just brainstorm all the ideas. Then after we brainstorm all the ideas, then we can prioritize those ideas, see which ones bubble to the top, and then we can actually start considering some actions. And then this could also prepare for Wednesday's meeting, when this might be the main place to really get further into it.
Yeah, sure.
So that would be my recommendation. So do we want to make it a topic?
I think it would resonate with a lot of people. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are caretakers or have family members who are utilizing IHSS. But let's jump in to these segments. We don't have a lot of time.
Okay, so no break. So let's get our topic clear as the first thing. So, we could focus the topic on specifically the caretakers, right? Defunding wages for healthcare workers, or we could focus the topic on the Big Beautiful Bill as the cause, right? So if we focus on the root cause, maybe that is slightly different.
Let's do that. Let's focus on the root cause.
Yeah, because I think the interesting thing about HR 1 and the Big Beautiful Bill, like if the reason why you are getting funding wages reduced is because of HR 1, the One Big Beautiful Bill. If you're building a coalition and you only focus on yourself and how it affects you, we know that this Big Beautiful Bill affects way more than just that. It probably affects 100, if not 1,000 things that are being cut and affecting tons and tons of people. And so we can bring that together as a coalition and build a much powerful resistance. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm on the same page with you.
So I would say the other side of the coin, the two things are, there's three things. There's the defunding of the wages, which is very specific and related to you. They have the HR1, which is the reason why it's happening. And then the bigger picture would be the overall Trump administration and the actions that the Trump administration is doing and the current government that's in power, right? So I would say that that's like the macro level, and then the middle level is the HR1, and the micro level is the wages. And so I like the idea of focusing on the act because it's tangible.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Whereas the whole administration and the government currently that's in power is very ethereal and just not clear exactly, you know, it's hard to pinpoint, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, in general, Trump is this and Trump is that. But it's like when you talk about just the specific act of Congress, it's very specific and actionable and understanding it. And you can even sue in court on a very different level than just like, oh, let's just randomly sue the Trump administration. You're not going to have much success. But if you are specifically finding issues within the act that can be challenged, you can actually have some serious legal success. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love the idea of focusing on the big, beautiful bill. And our desired outcome is a big, beautiful brainstorm on everything that can challenge, limit, and reverse this act. Right? That's our goal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So topic 2. Are there any objections to topic 2, or do we have agreement?
I think we have an agreement.
Cool. All right. And we did 24 minutes, so I'm going to put here 30 minutes on the clock with the break. And then also we have a live stream we're going. We are currently on minute 66. So we can get the link to the recording. So the recording link will go directly to this start of this particular segment. And that's the indexing, okay? So let me also get this to topic 2, a big, beautiful bill. All right, brainstorm. So who should start with brainstorming?
Let me think for a second. I mean, for Bill, we have to think about who can change bills or remove bills, right? Would that not point to the Senate?
That would be legislation.
Congress.
Yeah, legislation in Congress. I mean, it's the bill process, so the Congress and the president have to agree. And you need 60 votes in the Senate.
And right now, we don't get those votes unless, I think what California was trying to like redistrict so we can have more representatives. Is that going through?
Yeah, Prop 50 got passed.
Okay, so we just need to do more of redistricting, I guess, in blue states
Stop and get ready. Now
to take back control of Congress, but we also need to take control of the Senate because the Senate just blocks everything.
1, 2, 3. Exhale, relax.
And I respect, what's that guy's? He's Hispanic, and he decided not to run for governor because he said, you know, I would have more power in the Senate. He's one of the few people of color in the Senate. I believe he's Hispanic. I forget what his name is.
Alex Padilla?
Yes, Padilla.
Yes. Yeah, I've written him.
I applaud him for doing that because we don't have enough people of color in the Senate.
Yes, yes, indeed. Agreed. So, so I love the focus on the decision makers and going straight to the source, which is the Congress of the United States. And basically what that means is you have the midterm election for 2026, and we are exactly about 1 year away, right? So 1 year away from an election is already too late. But there is a lot that can still be done, right? So most of the decisions regarding who will be running for office will probably decided months ago, but will be finalized in the next month and a half, okay? especially in California. So from there, you're really just working with the people who've already chosen to run, which is still a pretty big group, and give us a lot of leadway. So, I think the midterm elections is a good point, but realistically, 1 year is not enough time to meet our broader spectrum. So it's fine to have a 1 year plan, but we need more than a 1 year plan, which would be the presidential election of 2028. So any plan that doesn't include the 2028 is not a great idea. Presidential election. And that also lines up with the May 1st, 2028 date. May 1st, 2028 is the synchronized strike planning, right? So
I also want to talk about culture for a second. And I feel like what I have felt in the past, I would think that it's potentially something that affects a lot of American people. So like whenever we have a Democrat in the presidential office, we kind of have a sigh of relief. And I always feel like there's a sigh of relief. Oh, okay, they're not going to be attacking our EPA. They're not going to be attacking education. They're not going to be attacking healthcare. But I think everyone is starting to wake up and see that it doesn't matter if you're Democratic or Republican, because the Democrats never utilize the power they have when they have it. So this leads me, like, as far as the cultural mindset, like, no, just because a Democrat is in office, it doesn't mean that we're safe. And actually, it means that we need to start taking real action and pushing when a Democrat, like anyone who's not a Republican or that's not for conservatism is in office, we really need to push hard and put in systems where we can have more people of color, more people for equity, more people for justice in the sphere of powers.
Yes. There's a lot to break down there. I'm also gonna get back to the brainstorming, but I feel like the bottom line is that when a Democrat gets in power, my experience is that Democrats are very, very, very private and secretive, and they put on a front. And Republicans are just openly, blatantly, we hate people, we hate poor people, we will destroy everybody except for the rich and ourselves, right? And they're very open about it.
Right, yeah.
And then Democrats put on this front that, oh yeah, we're so good and we want your vote, but then you put them in office and then they don't do anything, right?
Exactly.
And in some ways, I think that basically, I don't know quite what the right word is, but the omission lie, right? Lying through omission, right?
Yes,
Just not
agree.
saying things and keeping them private or secret or unsaid is more dangerous than being upfront and clear about what you want to do that's bad.
It's still a lie.
It's still a lie, exactly. And in some ways, it's worse. So in many ways, Trump is very, very truthful. He's just very, very bad at what he is doing, right? So yes, Trump lies more than anyone, but his lying is telling the truth. He is truthful about who he is and what he wants to do, and he's told everybody that, right?
Yes.
And in many ways, he doesn't lie to the people. He lies to his followers, right?
Yes.
Because it's a brainwashing. So his followers are washed into understanding this image of reality, and that everyone knows he's lying, except if you're already in that circle.
Please stop.
Stretch.
Stand up and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
But even the people in the circle believe it to a certain extent that what he's saying is actually what everyone is trying to do. Anyway, so the point is that, understanding the cultural significance and the cultural backing is in some ways more important than just the election itself, because that defines the election. So the cultural significance of the relationship with our elected leaders is in many ways paramount and more important than the actual election itself, because it defines the long-term plan, right? This defines the goals and vision and long-term planning.
But isn't there also an issue of voting rigging and voting manipulation?
Well, the whole system is completely rigged and manipulated based on money, right? So if we think about different brainstormed ideas, we're talking about elections.
Well, it is, but it's also like there's literal rigging of like manipulation of computers that are used to vote, like the voting machines.
I mean, there's you would say there's like rumors and you know, concepts and what do you call it when you have a campaign with rumors? It's called the conspiracy theory, right? But there's no proof, right? That like everything that I've read and reviewed and verified is that Trump won the election, right? There's no proof, and in the ability to actually, like our electoral system in the United States is that there's 3,000 separate elections that happen simultaneously. Every single county has a separate legal election, and so to rig the election, you would have to rig 3,000 separate elections simultaneously, which is almost impossible, right?
3,000 separate elections. So you saying that you can't hit key voting areas and change a few things even by a margin of like 2% and affect the vote?
Without having any proof of it, it's very, very low probability, right? So if you went and affected and actually had the ability to change the percentage, the probability of not seeing that and the results is very, very low. So the only way that Trump could have done it is that if he went and rigged the election in 3,000 separate elections across the entire country, utilizing thousands and thousands of people, and that somehow everybody is secret about it, and nothing came out, and nothing was leaked.
Which if he did, what if he pulled it off?
Sure, if he pulled it off, it's amazing. It's a miracle, right? And without anyone ever noticing, it would say, but it's still a conspiracy theory, right? It's like no one has any proof that it ever happened. Much more likely you would have at least one county where you could actually see a change of the percentage, but that doesn't exist. There's no outlying county that exists from the previous election, but that does not mean that it's not manipulated, right? The election is manipulated, but just not necessarily in the actual voting. So the most clear, direct option that we would be able to prove that Trump is trying to do something for the midterms would be if that the National Guard started picking up ballot drop-off boxes and stealing them, right? So we would want to actually see physical evidence of ballot tampering.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can definitely say there are a lot of conspiracy theories about rigging, and you are correct. Manipulation is definitely the most likely tool.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say in terms of just like flipping it around a little bit, what I'm trying to say is that we love to cast blame and point the finger. But the reality of the situation is that the problem with the United States, in my point of view, is the people. The people have the power. We are the ones who have all the money, all the power, all the control, everything. Every single day we give up our power and we turn it over to a very small select oligarchs and people in control, right? It is our choice and our decision to not organize, to not listen to each other, to not work through our problems, to infight, to fight against each other, to support a democratic institution that basically is directly against independence, that's against third parties, that's against anybody and everybody who was against Trump. Like, if you are not a Democrat, they're against you, even if you're against Trump. It makes no sense. And it's infighting, and the whole system is broken, and the root problem is ourselves.
I agree with you in that is a huge factor.
Yeah.
I think there are contributing factors in regards to what parties are doing as far as vote manipulation. I'm 100% positive that they are employing whatever they can to manipulate votes. But then we're talking about culture, which is super important, and I agree with you. And I want to add that what was my train of thought regarding that?
Time for breath. Please stop and get ready. Now inhale.
Breathe.
1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale, relax.
So yes, the culture as far as the molecular family, right? That is one worldview that has been pushed by American media for the last 50 years. You know, only care about immediate family, only care about your immediate, extended relatives. That is the most important thing. And it's been pushed constantly and constantly through mainstream media, leading people to not really care about community. And we have talked about this extensively, right? And you and I, yeah, we could create a campaign about breaking this myth that we only need to care about ourselves and no one else in terms of societal welfare and infrastructure. Because that affects literally everyone.
Yes. So, if we did focus on a campaign, I think that it would be a multi-tiered campaign, right? So in essence, you are building a campaign that has a front cultural perspective to entice and connect on more of a deeper level, right? And then that builds into the back end political and decentralized democracy model, right? So basically, the idea is that you can have a cultural interest in taking action and then move forward with that action through a decentralized system that is empowering and can actually conduit for change, right? So the question is, okay, well, what is the cultural perspective? What is the brand? What is the actual campaign in relationship to the big, beautiful bill, right? I think that there's a lot of possibilities there. But maybe it is I mean, it could either be support, right? Supporting community and community leaders, right? Or it is health, and communal health, right? Or it is
Time to pause.
democracy,
Please
just
stop. Close your eyes.
power.
Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Maybe it's about changing the power dynamics through culture, right? That the brand is power. We want to change the power dynamics. We want to change the power structures, and that starts with taking power over our own culture.
Yes.
Because what if democracy doesn't start with voting and representation and decision makers in Congress? Maybe democracy starts with culture, and that power starts with culture, right? That building our identity and our culture as a community and building those resilient frameworks like we've talked about is the actual foundation to power. And that without that, just saying just vote, or go against this, or sign this petition, or whatever, that is disconnected from the grounding of culture and understanding and empowerment. And so then there's no backing to it. It doesn't have value. It's just a vote. It's an empty
I really
vote.
do love. I'm sorry. I really do love how your contribution led us to culture, and I was just thinking, the culture of America is our soul, the soul of America. And if you look at our culture, it is completely destroyed. It's empty and hollow.
Especially on the left, right? The left is deflated. They are hurt from all sides, from each other, from the infighting, from the Democrats, from the right. Everybody. It's like, and you look at the right. The one thing the right has is the Trump movement is huge, and the momentum and the energy and the excitement of it. It's like your team won. They don't care that no one likes Trump. The vast majority of Republicans don't like Trump, but they love that they won the game and that they're continuing to
Right.
win. Right?
Right.
Like, it's just like a sports game. You don't get excited about your sports team because you love your players. You don't care about your players. You don't like that the player purposely goes and hurts people, like the Eagles or the Seattle.
Oh, don't tell that to any diehard sports followers.
Yeah.
People who love the
Exactly.
Raiders. They love. I'm not a sports guy, but I know of sports culture.
Yeah, but there are teams where the team specifically has players that play dirty, and the fans do not care because they just care about the color. They just want to win.
6 minutes.
They don't
I did
care
not
that
know
the
about
players.
that.
It happens all the time.
Okay, yeah, you can tell I don't follow sports. I don't watch sports.
Yeah, well, there's always players that play dirty, right? What is the team?
Right.
Is it the Eagles that play dirty the most?
I don't know. I don't even know. I'm so detached from sports. I don't care about sports.
What are you talking
But then that absolutely conveys and reflects on the people who cheer them on. And if those people are demonstrating these things of the opposite of integrity, cheering on sports who demonstrate a lack of integrity, that reflects directly upon the people. And that is not good. To know that people still want to cheer for their team if they are displaying a lack of integrity.
Well, let's just take the Astros for example. Like, the Astros cheated in the World Series, right? And winning
I
everything.
had no idea. No, I have no idea. I told you I don't follow any sports.
Okay. So, anyways, the point is that there's lots of cheating in sports. It happens all the time, and the only reason that people don't cheat is because they get caught, and then usually it's bad. I mean, steroids were huge in all sports, and then it got increasingly worse and worse to take the steroids, and they had more and more testing that prevented people from doing it, and so it's less now. But it used to be huge, the steroids in all sports, and now it gets less and less, and some sports were worse than others, right? But it's just another form of cheating, right?
Yeah.
So the point is that, do the fans care that their players are cheating and taking steroids and doing horrible things and hurting people, right? Including their own children, right? When famous athletes take steroids, guess what happens? High school students take steroids, and it hurts them, and they get hurt their entire lives, and sometimes they even die. Right? This
that's
is just
terrible.
a known fact, right? So the point is that people blindly support their teams because of the color. My team is blue. I wear blue. I support blue. My team is red. I support red. It has nothing to do about the individual player.
What we're talking about is humanism. Just being when I'm talking about humanism, is we're talking about the core essence of what it is to be a good human and to operate as a human on this planet. And I don't know if you know, but I have very strong values in regards to this topic. And I'm going to be I'm starting a shop that is just going to be promoting humanism through apparel. And disregard that, but I think this is one of the main core issues we have to address, is that this society revolves around capital. It needs to revolve around being human.
I would say the society should revolve around value, because I don't think humanism is an important enough trait. I think it's still too self-centered. It needs to focus around intrinsic value for all beings, right? It doesn't matter whether you're a human or an agent or an animal or whatever. Like the value in and of itself requires
I'm sorry,
recognition.
but you've hit the time limit for this conversation.
Okay, 5 left.
So
Please
I
start a new
might
chat.
disagree with that because in my opinion, being human means to be in harmony with the universe, and that has respect for everything that is around us as humans, and that means respecting the planet, respecting entities such as plants, animals. Like we are part of a universal system. And,
Sure. I mean, I just think it's the same difference. It's like two sides of the same coin. So I think we're totally in agreement. It's
Yeah.
just that you're using the term human, and I would say that, to say that humanism means helping the universe and being in alignment with everything besides human it's just a semantic issue, right?
Yes,
So,
it is semantics. But the thing is, like, right, as humans, semantics is everything as humans.
well,
Like,
sure,
the
but
way
that's why I would use a term that isn't. It's like saying like, oh, being a man is supporting women. Let's use the word men and man, and that means that women are supported. It's just like that's for me is bullshit. It's like you would never use the term man to say, oh, supporting men is the way you support women. It's just like that's ridiculous. It's like you can't say that, right? That's just sexist.
Okay, so I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
What can we describe it? Like, as far as values go, like, do we just say values? Like, because I don't know if that resonates. Like,
Well, I think that we're not talking about value at all, right? We're talking about power. I think that between the support coalition, the health coalition, and the power coalition, that this is about democracy and about power, and that is the best brand, and that the power coalition is the direction I'm going. So I used to call it the democracy coalition, coalition. But
I
when you're
love
talking
the
about
power
democracy,
coalition.
when you're talking about democracy, you're talking about power, right? So what were you saying again? I missed that.
Oh, I was just saying, I love that you created what's called a power coalition. I actually love that.
Yeah, so I think we should schedule for the power
And
coalition
time to start. Please get focused on the session.
as our next step. In that basically the interesting thing about, and let me just say this, hopefully is one of my last things to say because I do need to get going, but I think the most important thing, and I know this is literally insane, right, is to bring people from all walks in life and cultures into the space, and to empower the least privileged of all, right, and to empower the minorities and people of color and all of that, for me, means also empowering the privileged and specifically Republicans. And I know that
I
seems
agree with
crazy.
you. I agree with you.
But if
because
we can create a safe space where we can talk to Republicans, and especially in California, remember, in California, especially the Bay Area, guess what? The Republicans are the minority, right? They are the minority, right? They exist in an island of isolation from power for 50 years, right? So in understanding, that viewpoint and creating a safe space where you can hear different viewpoints without erupting into attacks and just like complete disintegration, I think builds culture and also builds civic space and civic engagement and builds power, right? Because if you can, our goal is in the power coalition, the goal is majority. If you exclude 50%, 60%, 70% of the population because they don't meet your personal criteria, you're never going to get power. Check.
So I watched this. Anyways, there's a theory called I forget what it's called exactly. It's like the Dobner theory or something, where as soon as you see someone as a human being, you create empathy, because most people in Republican areas never have seen people of color, never talk to people of color, never talk to anyone of LGBTQ community. basically they don't really interact with minorities, and this can be a part of the power coalition in regards to the privileged, the Republicans, the MAGA base, to demonstrate to them that these minorities are human beings. And once that veil is lifted, they can actually feel something.
Yes, exactly.
And,
And in
and
the
connect.
process,
Pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
and the process is very, 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 very simple. You hear from the minorities, you hear from, GLBT community, you hear from centrists, you hear from Republicans and conservatives, and everyone percepts their view. You list all the viewpoints, and then you vote on them, right? And then you get the majority. And it's like you allow the space to put the viewpoint out there, and then if your viewpoint loses, that's fine, right? Because we're not trying to create an echo chamber. We're not trying to create, one small minority controls everybody. We're trying to build a established majority, and that goal is to build those majorities on issues. And what's very interesting is that through idiocracy and issue-based decision making, you can really have a lot more overlap than you would ever imagine, right? So much more overlap, right? So we should make sure that in the power coalition we have very, very clear identity and values where we value issue-based decision making, right? Because issue-based decision making is how you create civics, right? And recognition and relationships, right? Because if everybody has to agree to everything, you've already lost. And that's the whole problem with our society. Like, our society, top down, the people in the oligarchy and the kings and the queens and the power structures have created a quote democratic end quote system. That means that everybody has to agree to everything, and if you don't want to agree to everything, then you're excluded, and then you lose all your power. It makes no sense, right? That model is evil. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible model. The idea that you have to agree to everything or nothing. You get nothing. Everything or nothing, and that's not how it works, right? That's just not how human brains work. It's not how society works. It's not how anything works, right? It's just how everyone's forced into voting for one person. So then you have to vote for the worst of all the evils, and the media chooses who you can vote for, and the money chooses who. It's like, it is insane, and it needs to end. And the way you do that is through issue-based decision making, right? So issue-based decision making should be the foundation to building power, right? Because if you have a Republican in the room, you have a conservative in the room, you have a Democrat in the room, you have a radical leftist in the room, you have an anti-capitalist in the room, you have a whole bunch of very, very different, distinct viewpoints in the room, and you say, okay, all of us have to agree on a single candidate, and therefore that automatically means all of us need to agree on a single agreement of everything.
Time for
right?
breath.
By definition.
Please stop and get
Which is
ready.
insane.
Now inhale.
You're never going to get
1,
agreement on that,
2,
ever.
3.
Right?
Exhale.
But
1,
if you say,
2,
okay,
3.
we have
Pause.
the three top
Inhale
issues.
together. 1,
The first issue is healthcare. The second issue is abortion. The third issue is, universal income, right? Guess what? All three of those issues we can easily, quickly, and effortlessly get consensus, and potentially consensus, but at least super majorities on. So it's the difference of you get absolutely nothing in relationship to trying to get agreement on a candidate, but you can quickly, easily get super majorities on.
I want to build on what you just said.
Yeah.
During our think call, and maybe after a few think calls, do you think we could implement mock issue based voting?
For me, it's not mock. Decentralized democracy is just integrated into the entire system, and every single issue, every single idea is constantly being voted on and constantly bubbling up, and every, whether it's 2 people, whether it's 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, or 10,000 people, decentralized democracy means that every single issue, you can call it quote mock or not, but it is official. It can be an official vote, and it can be integrated into the
What?
blockchain of voting and decentralized decision. And every single time a vote happens and it's integrated into the blockchain, right, through the decentralized voting systems, it just reconnects into the bigger pictures, and you have more and more people voting on it, and then it bubbles up, and then eventually it's unstoppable.
Then why don't we just not use the word mock, just conduct issue-based voting,
Exactly.
publish
Exactly.
it,
Yeah.
and then we can actually give data to the public and say like, hey, in this area, all these people came together. These people are this, that, and that. All these people were here, and look at the data.
Yeah, exactly. And the true reality of that is that's kind of what polling does, right? If you look at polling, you have that, but we're going to take polling to a whole new level. We're going to create decision-making systems as a decentralized decision-making system that everybody can instantaneously interact with and make proposals and make decisions and start building these systems. I don't know if you've read my decentralized democracy proposal yet, but it's all there. The whole system is there, ready to go. We just have to launch it.
Can you shoot me that, and I'll review it over the next few days.
I can do a quick overview right now, just so that you kind of understand, since it's a core part of the Power Coalition. So we should schedule for the Power Coalition, and then we'll be good. So we could either do that, instead of like health or strike. But I think overall we just need to find a time. I mean, here, let me give a idea. Let me find this website first. So this is a4r.net. So basically, my proposal. This is my proposal. Is that we schedule a overall coalition session weekly, and at this session we prioritize all the brands and branches, right? The brands, and then we just work on whatever is the top priority. And right now, if the Power Coalition is the top priority, then that's what we work on, right?
I think it is. This is the actual first time where I feel like with the Power Coalition, I feel like real change can happen within a shorter period of time. Like all the other projects are super long, super long term.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, we can actually see impact in a shorter period amount of time, in comparison to what the other things we're working on.
Absolutely, months. Like I've always said, is if you build these systems that I'm all about, the butterfly into the caterpillar, right? It's a transformative model. It's a cyclical model as opposed to linear. And so it can look very chaotic and look like all this stuff, but then things can change very, very quickly. So things can change in months instead of years if in decentralized systems, right? So if we build a decentralized democracy model, the decentralized democracy, once it's unleashed, is an empowerment system independent from any other institution that exists. And it can just start, they can just start churning and rolling like a snowball and growing just like Bitcoin did. Whether that happens quickly or fast, we don't know. But once it starts building, it can take on a life of its own.
Yeah, I say we focused on this for sure. Yeah. And I agree. Let's put this on top priority.
Let me do a quick decentralized consensus-based scientific democracy overview. All right. So do you want me to do this real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm going to skip the preamble, but basically the preamble says, we the people declare our right to make decisions with and without representation, right? Basically, we're just saying we can just make a decision. We don't require, nothing in the Constitution requires us to have representation to make decisions. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the preamble. So then you have section 1 is the methodology. It sets in motion unlimited power of the people to govern themselves through decentralized democracy and oversee representation using a simple method of problem solving and decision making, right? So then you connect and you initiate agreement on a topic. So you need a clear topic, and you have to have the most important issue or decision that you're trying to address. And then there's nothing more powerful than controlling the agenda of the topic. And that is where Congress, and that is where our entire electoral system falls apart. When people in power and the oligarchy and the money control the agenda, they control everything. So what we're saying is we're taking back the voice, right? To control our own agenda as the people, okay? So then you brainstorm, which is what we just started doing. So we actually are in section 3 right now, brainstorming. So we're brainstorming, okay, the list of everything we want to do. We take that list and then we prioritize it. So the next step if we go into next steps, the next step is to list everything that we just talked about. So list everything we talked about, and then prioritize this in a, usually it's a spreadsheet prioritizing, but you can also do a voting form. So a spreadsheet prioritizing or a voting form. Eventually we'll have a whole platform that does it for us. So then after you prioritize, you get whatever the top priority is, would then be the proposal. So if the top priority is proposing, for example, scheduling, or proposing to launch this power coalition, or proposing the mission of the power coalition, or proposing whatever the proposal is, you then vote on that, right? And then you go into the decision-making and agreement. So once the proposal is drafted, you do the official decision-making, which would be score voting, because score voting is the most scientifically applicable decision-making. And then this is the most important, is it has to be public. So you have to a decentralized democracy by definition is public, because if it's not public, then no one can know about it, and then it can't be reviewed or verified or put into the blockchain. So the broadcast of the decision is the defining moment. That is the same thing as basically broadcasting your Bitcoin transaction, right? Because if you don't broadcast your Bitcoin transaction, it's like it never existed, right? So the broadcast of the decision itself puts it into the block, puts it into the chain of the decentralized democracy. So a decentralized democracy is only as good as its communications. Any documentation, information, notes, links, discussions, communications, and anything related to the decision must be documented and broadcast publicly and transparently to the public using the highest level of scientifically recognized method of decentralized democratic communications available. Okay? Super key. Then you review and revise, which is basically the initial decision is just a starting point. Goes to anyone else can continue to review it and relate it, and then you replicated implementation. So you keep replicating it and it keeps growing, and you just repeat over and over and over again. And then this is the most important part, is the bottom-up law of the land. The most important type of proposal in decentralized democracy is the consensus agreement that a decision has been made at such a large scientific level that it is meant the level of becoming bottom-up law of the land. So this is where you get into decentralized institutional frameworks of governance, right? Where you can build decentralized institutions through bottom-up laws that are built from the people, right?
But there's a component that we're missing, what is it called, a precursor component. The people need to be educated about what is at hand. And if they don't have the information or data, that is definitely a factor. So education is huge.
Yeah, so that's what the sessions are for. This is the session that we can talk about the proposals and the education and understanding and going back and forth, and that should all be broadcast and linked to the proposals, right? So they can watch the videos and watch the decision making and understanding what's going on, right? As best as possible. Anyways, there's still more here in terms of the individual consent and organizational rights. This is super key. But I need to go. So let's do a quick checkout, and then I need to go, okay? So quick checkout, I would give this session a 7.5, and I will be, are you sure? Yeah. Okay, maybe I don't need to go. But I'll still check out though. But so I'll give the session a 7.5. Well, no, I'm gonna give it a 7 because we still need to take breaks.
Yeah.
It's just very, very long without breaks. And then I'm excited about setting up the Power Coalition. So I'm committed to getting our brainstorm list organized, and then hopefully we can vote on the brainstorm and start prioritizing, which would be really cool. And then we can continue to add, right? Can continue to add to the brainstorm. And then also we need to schedule the Power Coalition session. Cool. And then I'll also be working on everything else, including all the other platforms, the communication platforms, all the token platforms. It's just like identity, so much, lots and lots and lots that I'm working on right now. Cool. You want to check out?
Yeah. Since I was only here for literally less than half the time of the meeting, I thought it went to a 9. I agree with you. Yeah, if I was here also for the whole meeting, we would have been able to discuss more But I'm also excited about our next meeting and developing plans.
Cool. So we have the next meeting is Friday. Well, there's let's do a little wrap up here so we can look at the scheduling. So scheduling. So we need to schedule this idea of the coalition session overall, and then allow us to prioritize the top, brand, right? So for me, we can do that at any session. Obviously, we do that all the time. We always are, connecting to other parts of the coalition, which is just normal, right? Like last week, we talked a lot about breathe.
1, 2, 3, pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale, relax.
So last week we talked a lot about, boycotts and, protesting and stuff. And so this week we talked a lot about health and, the power coalition. So I think that's good. So what's scheduled? So we have health is scheduled for Friday at 3.
Yeah.
Pacific Standard Time. We have the strike, the California NorCal general strike is scheduled for Wednesday at 8, I believe. And then we have on the next one is the strike coalition, which would be, I think peace is actually might be on Sunday. I'm going to try to check it out. So peace is might be Sunday at 6 a.m. And then strike would be next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Right? So that is the, and then there's also Thursday. So Thursday is actually the co-op, right? Co-op Thursday at 12 noon. Okay, so and then obviously
I
this one's
missed
private.
last Thursday's one, but I think it's because I didn't have it in my calendar, so I'm putting my calendar right now.
Are you interested in attending the co-op?
Yeah, I would love to join your guys' efforts.
All right, cool. And it's all related. I mean, we're all part of the co-op by being part of all these other sessions as well. So in terms of the co-op, we do the link for that. Like the NorCal session is on the NorCal Discord, right? It's just the meeting in the NorCal Discord, and then you have the consent to be recorded is basically all of the other ones, except for the co-op, which is SFC, right? Yeah. Because the co-op is just automatically everything's public already, so we don't have to consent to it at all. Whereas all the other ones, it's like you got to make sure people are consenting.
And I see Sunday peace meetings at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, that Sunday peace meeting, I believe, is happening on Sunday, but I'm not 100% sure. I need to double check it because sometimes it might have been last Sunday. I don't know. But either way, we just need to get all of these organized, and I'm actually going to be working on the calendar and getting all that set up with all our communications platforms. So anyways, one step at a time. It's all coming together. It's just almost impossible to do it manually, and just because there's too much, with so few people, right? So eventually, hopefully, we will get the UI agents doing this all and getting it all organized at a much higher level. So let's see if Flo wants to check out. Would you like to check out with a number from 1 to 9 and how the session went for you and what you will be working on? Cool. So anything else? So do we want to try to schedule this overall coalition, or do we want to try to replace one of the sessions? Like again, it's like when we have a coalition meeting doesn't mean we can't talk about anything, right? And it's just the same thing with a strike coalition meeting. We don't have to talk about the strike, of course, but it just makes sense that we would have an overall coalition session happening so that we are able to have that flexibility and to communicate it to the public and to the participants so they understand what's going on.
I almost want to just replace our strike coalition and health coalition with power coalition meetings.
Yeah, well, it's possible that might just happen automatically, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the strike coalition meeting is an important brand because it's it connects to all the work that we're doing with all the other strike people, right? So I think that's an important connection to keep, and that's already replacing the strike meetings that were on Saturdays at 3, right? So we moved it to Tuesdays, and so that's ongoing. We've been doing that for months and months and months. So that I think that's important to keep branded as strike.
Oh yeah.
The co-op should stay branded as co-op. So I would say we either change the health, and again, I would like us to get a coalition session that can be that we can talk about anything during that session.
Okay.
And then we usually would prioritize power coalition. If that's our priority is power coalition, then everything focuses in on that, right? But in the context is that we could do both. We could have one that's power coalition, if that's what we think is the most important. We could switch health coalition to power coalition, and then we could add in an overall coalition session at some point somewhere.
Absolutely. Just find priority on the power currently to be the highest.
I would agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. But again, we can like the health coalition, for example. If we just say that the health coalition is our overall coalition session each week, we can still talk about power. We can still talk about health. We can talk about whatever we need that week, right? It's not like
Okay.
So if because we have limited time, right?
Yeah.
So if we make our primary coalition meeting Fridays at 3, and then we know that we want to add time for health and we want to add time for power, right? Those could come later, but for now we just have the overall coalition for decentralized movement organizing every Friday at 3, and then at that meeting we go into topics on the power coalition, the health coalition, and whatever needs to be discussed, whatever we think is the most important priorities, which right now we think is the power coalition. Then eventually we can spin that off to have a space that's only for power coalition once we get there, But I think it's important to have that meeting that's for the coalition, because that's where everything connects, like the hub of all the spokes. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah. Cool. So Friday at 3, we have the overall coalition meeting, and that we primarily discuss power coalition for that particular.
Sounds good. Yeah. I like it.
Cool. All right. So I think we are good. Any other questions? Any other things? I'm gonna get the follow-up going on here. Like Flo is gonna do a summary of the session. We'll make sure all that's organized. All of the things are organized for future. So, any other questions? Anything else? Or are we good?
I think we're good.
All right. Awesome. Very cool.
Ew. Excuse me. Ugh.
Nice. So this is where the real work begins, is doing the transcript, doing the summaries, transcript. Eventually I'm gonna get this all automated, but for now I just have to do it on my own. So I'll ask Flo. Oh wait, Flo did a checkout, I believe. Let's see.
Oh, she did.
Flo said the session was a 7. Steady session, looked pretty good. Gonna work on some orientation, session indexing, value tracking. Cool.
Okay, nice.
Wait, let me copy and paste the checkout for Flo. Cool. All right, and then let's get the whole transcript summarized. Can you summarize the entire meeting? Thank you so much. Please do that. here is the transcript. So the transcript is quite long. All right. And then I'll put that here. So strike notes. So this is going to. So now I'm just organizing all of the media files. So you have the notes, and then we're going to have the session summary. So here's the session summary. Let's see how many pages it is. We have orientation and purpose, public versus private organizing, global scope, Poland and participation. The resistance warrior is from Poland, or lives in Poland. It's from the United States. Global scope, outreach and platform pipeline. So the outreach is super important. Identity, mission, and values. We discussed that. Culture, power, and issues-based civic practice. Decentralized democracy. We talked about that. Caregiving, IHSS, and HR1 Big Beautiful Bill discussion. Health, accessibility, and human scheduling and focus going forward. Closing tone. So I definitely did not. There's not a section on the power. It talks about power coalition framework. So it does talk about the power coalition within all of these closing sections.
Okay.
So, and then we could add the schedule here. So insert schedule, wrap up, and this is our next schedule. So it goes here. Ooh, paste. Boy. That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this would be like the schedule, and we'll be improving on that. So then this is the summary, Strike Coalition, and this is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. Cool. And then what's going to happen eventually is that we'll take this summary, and then it'll automatically create a bunch of like tweets and like updates and information. And then I'm also going to automatically put this into our PEP. So the PEP room would be the session updates.
Trying to navigate your PEP website, and I need to spend more time there to figure out the dichotomy and like how it's laid out.
Well, it still has a lot of problems, not working perfectly, lots of things, but just not necessarily.
Time to start. Please get focused on the session.
It's working good enough that I don't need to worry about it too much. So, but I'm going to go ahead and open it over here. Let's see if it's working over here. See, sometimes this comes up as blank, and you just have to do a clearing of the cache, which I think will be easier over here. All right, here we go. Settings, privacy and security. Oops. There we go. All right. Delete. So usually that fixes the issue. Yeah, there it goes now.
There we go.
So I want to go to session updates. So this would be the session update. And whoops, session updates. And then I would just post the session. So link to session summary for Strike Coalition. And then you link the session summary, and that's there. Right.
Okay.
And then this can, and then eventually this will automatically go out to all of our social media feeds, because this is basically has the RSS feed and everything. And then this will eventually automatically be put into like little sound bites, So like each one of these could be its own little post, right? And then it would automatically send out these posts, through rotation over the course of like 24 hours or 3 days or whatever,
So we'll talk about this next time, but I don't know if you can add a topic that we can talk about. But I want to talk about the social platforms that we should use. What should we use and what should we not use?
Well, we have a list of all the social platforms that we're trying to automate and connect to. So, but what really doing is we're building our own platforms, and then we're going to connect our own platforms to all of the other platforms. And basically eventually it'll just be automated so that it all just automatically goes to the other platforms, and then we don't have to worry about it. Yeah. So whatever platforms can just be automatically connected, and they're the simplest to do, the more we want to use them. So the more it has to be done manually, the more that it's just not going to happen. Because we have so few people and so few amount of energy. We're trying to automate everything. And working with the UI agents.
I am hoping that we are able to have someone join us who is fluent in social media, because I hate marketing, and if we're pushing out information that's useful and for outreach, the efforts could be diminished when they're not actually getting the reach that we need.
Yes, so we can do extensive research on how to set it all up and what to do, and then continuously improve it and make it better. And so that would be part of our outreach discussions. And then we can also even do advertising, right? And where you actually pay money to get your things prioritized, in people's feeds. And then from there, and that's like the real way you get outreach, right? Because that's how social media works. It's the whole purpose of social media is to make money, right?
Yeah.
So in the context of raising money, a certain portion of all the money we raise should just go back to advertising to get more people, right? So then from there, I would say that we will have lots and lots of people who have experience with social media eventually. Once we
there is a new platform. You might have already heard about it. Have you heard of Upscroll?
Upscroll? No.
So this new platform is in its infancy right now, and I think we should use that leverage that it's new and not entirely bought up or saturated.
But see, for me, it's like, for me, the whole thing is just creating our own platforms. Like, we can connect to whatever we want to, that's fine. But for me, if we're going to put a bunch of effort into a new platform, it should be focused on decentralized platforms. Either our own platforms or decentralized platforms, 100%. Because if it's not decentralized, it's just not applicable.
Okay, we'll discuss and get more, because I don't know.
So decentralized platforms would be Matrix and Blue Sky and Mastodon, like those kind of platforms.
I have downloaded Mastodon and I know of Blue Sky, but I only know of Blue Sky related to ETFs. Is that the right term, ETF?
ETFs
or
would
EFTs?
be
EFTs?
EFTs. I mean, that sounds like stocks. Like
Okay, maybe.
assets and stocks.
Okay.
EFTs are. I think of EFTs as stocks, but I don't know what an EFT is in other contexts.
Okay.
But anyways,
Okay.
App Protocol Blue Sky is a decentralized model of communication. So the people's democracy will be on decentralized communication systems that we, as the people across the world, control the communication system. Right? If someone controls your communications, they control you.
Got it. Yeah, I tried to use Mastodon and I kind of just dropped off. Maybe I should try to use it more. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my experience with every single social media is that breathe.
1, 2, 3.
I feel like this is
Pause.
off.
Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale, relax.
All right, I do need to get going, but from my experience, that every single social media is basically, it doesn't function for what we need to do. And what we need to do is two things. One, public, transparent, collaborative communications for decision making and verification, accountability. And then two, group organizing and group problem solving, right? And the closest thing that does that is basically Discord. And the closest thing to Discord that's decentralized is Element, right?
Elements. Okay.
Right? So, and that's a decentralized version of it. So what PEP is basically all of that put together and connecting it to a public. I mean, the worst thing about Discord and even to some ways Elements is that it's so hard to get the data out of it. And if you can't get the data out, then it's not decentralized, right? It's just stuck.
Mm.
And that's why I created PEP. So PEP is a fully integrated system whereby, I mean, basically there's two things. One is us communicating and working together ourselves as a community, and that's what PEP is for, right? And then PEP connects to every other social media through the public interface and integrations. So it's automatically integrates into whatever other social media that you want it to, any other website, anywhere, right? It's just fully integrated already. That's how it's all set up. So as we build that, it will just automatically branch out to more and more and more other platforms, and then we'll get better and better at engaging the other platforms. So for me, it's just a matter of creating our own platforms and then building them to integrate better with other existing platforms and just slowly grow from
What
there.
do you
You know?
Okay, sorry about that.
But I have a whole plan for our social media plan. If you want to look at it, it lists every single social media. Like there's probably like 10 or 15 of them that we're gonna try to prioritize, which includes a balance between like the big ones like Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, like all the big ones, right? And then you also have the decentralized ones, like I already mentioned. So you want to have a balance of the decentralized and our own platforms and the big platforms.
Yes, sorry, I was talking to my mom.
But anyways, we'll
Let's
talk more
just
about this in
get.
the future.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Cool. Awesome. I'll talk to you later, man. Take care. Thanks so much.
All right, talk to you later.
All right. Ciao. Bye.
Right.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Recording stopped.